I'm Adam and this is Reel Rivalries, the show where we pit two movies head to head and let you decide the winner. Today's rivalry is no laughing matter as Joker goes up against The Dark Knight. The rounds at play are story, worlds, assembly, and characters. Let's start by finding out which story puts a smile on that face. These puns aren't going to get better. The Dark Knight opens with a bunch of clowns robbing a bank. The Joker knows how to get the most bang for his buck by having his crew kill each other off once their tasks are completed. This introduction to the new villain of the trilogy perfectly showcases his twisted yet sharp mind. A threat unlike anything Batman has faced before. Speaking of which, the Dark Knight is reintroduced here, taking down Scarecrow and a couple of his thugs. After foiling some criminals and punching some dogs in the face, Bruce learns that he has some limits to what he can do, which is a good reason to keep close tabs on Gotham's White Knight, Harvey Dent. He has a real face you can trust. Meanwhile, Joker is making some moves in the background, busting up a nice meeting in the kitchen to showcase his honestly impressive disappearing pencil trick. He offers up his services to kill the Batman, which would allow crime to once again rule the night. And their first stop is the Wayne penthouse, where a fundraising event is taking place. Batman hides Harvey in the closet so he doesn't get dented up by the party crashers. I was hesitant to say the line. I realize it's horrible, but here we are. Joker then tosses Bruce's past flame Rachel off the building, who is intercepted by the Dark Knight just in the nick of time. As for Joker and his crew, I guess they take the elevator back down to the lobby, head home for the night. Hopefully don't run back into Batman, who's on his way back upstairs. It'd be an awkward confrontation. Oh, hey, Joker. Thanks for ruining the suit. I just got it. Where's Rachel? Where is she? Look, I'm like 15% into the plot, and this isn't that long of a show. Essentially, Joker breaks down the few strings of fabric holding this city together. He constantly forces people to choose one life or lives over another. He does this later on to Bruce when he captures both Harvey and Rachel and only allows enough time to save one. Bruce goes after Rachel but ends up at Dent's location because, as it turns out, Joker's a bit of a two-faced liar. Dent was saved, but at the same time, he kinda wasn't. As he lost his bride-to-be, half his face, and most of his charming personality. This was the Joker's true intent all along. Turn the White Knight into the villain, thereby launching Gotham into utter chaos. Batman lives long enough to become the villain so that Dent can die a hero. At least that's what they want the city to think. There's a lot to unpack in this almost 2.5-hour film, and again, I maybe got through half of it. Maybe. Joker is a simpler story that follows Arthur Fleck and his rise to fame. Arthur is a very disturbed, sick individual who has a laughing disorder that seems to trigger when he's in uncomfortable situations. At the end of the day, the guy could just really use a damn hug. Unfortunately, that hug never seems to happen by people in the real world, so he has to constantly manifest scenarios that can take him to better places. Arthur always has negative thoughts, so these little trips seem to be his only real way of coping. That and the Queen's Gambit amount of pills he's on. As the story unfolds, we see this man beaten multiple times, lose his clown gig, do some Amy Schumer level stand-up comedy, meaning terrible, hang out inside his fridge, and oh yes, kill 3 dudes in the subway. Eat fresh. It's not that kind of Subway, I know, it's just the marketing is so good. Every time I hear that word, I think that tagline. Somehow this unhinged lunatic starts a movement with this act of violence. It turns out, getting people to blindly follow you is incredibly simple, barely any bother. That catchphrase doesn't work, like the other one on this channel. It helps that 1980s Gotham is a tinderbox of rage, pain, and unrest, with people just needing a little push to get started rioting. This movie feels somewhat relevant today still. Arthur swings by the real Sophie's apartment where he just kind of mopes on her couch while she pleads for her and her daughter's life. After a little Sophie's choice, he kills an old co-worker and heads to the Murray Franklin show for his final curtain call. It's there where Murray gets what he deserves, which in Arthur's mind means a bullet to the head. Now going by the name Joker, he celebrates in the streets, surrounded by the ensuing chaos. His inspirational dancing leads one of the clown-faced criminals to kill little Bruce Wayne's parents in the alley. No matter how much the Joker character changes over the years, one thing always stays constant. Bruce's parents always die. And in that, we can take some comfort. Taxi Driver, Fight Club, and many other films have tackled this unraveling of man's storyline, but it was an interesting take to see it done with one of DC's best villains. Hey, I'm willing to meet in the middle. I'm a fair person here. I'm gonna go with a tie. Gotham City's been portrayed in many different ways over the years. From the dark and surreal Tim Burton vibe to the neon-infused streets of Joel Schumacher, Christopher Nolan treats Batman's playground the same way he approaches everything else, from a grounded standpoint. The Dark Knight gets to do a bit of detective work thanks to some fantastic gadgets at his disposal. Besides an awesome suite of tools to grapple, glide, and attack with, he also has the Tumbler. What it lacks in stealth, it more than makes up for in destructive capabilities. Might be a little bit of compensating there too, I don't know. I don't really know Batman's psyche. Even cooler is the Bat-Pod, which is housed inside this sweet ride. 2019's Joker doesn't have any special gadgetry or really any cool cars. In fact, I don't believe Arthur even owns a vehicle. What a pathetic loser. We should beat him up for that. It's the setting that really brings this movie to life. Director Todd Phillips set the film in 1981 to help separate it from the DCEU films, since this operates outside of whatever is happening with that. The gritty, almost dilapidated environments take inspiration from Martin Scorsese films like Mean Streets. Dingy nightclubs, filthy alleyways, a less than hospitable hospital, and a poor class of people on the brink of a revolution all help construct a unique arena for Arthur to explore. Prop gun to my head, I think both these worlds help further the stories. I'm calling another tie. Todd Phillips' Joker runs 2 hours long. 45 minutes if you take out the uncomfortable laughing. I'm being dramatic, but nevertheless, Phillips wants the audience to sit there and watch Arthur as he bizarrely parades around in his underwear or gets pushed past the brink of his fleeting sanity. Even though it's directed by Phillips, there are some Nolan-esque shots that beautifully fly over the city. We don't see semi-trucks flip, hospitals explode, or high-speed chases here. Yet it still feels heavy, thanks to some amazing cinematography shot on 35mm. The music has a melancholy vibe that ratchets up more and more as Arthur's Joker starts to reveal himself. The score further enhances this bizarre, disturbed fairy tale running through Arthur's mind. If you've seen a Christopher Nolan movie, you know what to expect, and that's a good thing. Massive IMAX shots, practical effects work when possible, intense music composed by Hans Zimmer, all the Nolan fixings you can jam into a 2.5-hour picture. The vehicle chases are incredibly well done, with the camera often hovering right behind the Caped Crusader as he takes out the trash. Even though things like hulking semi-trucks were actually flipped in real life for the shot, the CG work done here is very convincing. Two-Face is hard to look at, that was me being Two-Face, because of the top-notch visuals. The action's much easier on the eyes too. None of that shaky cam nonsense here. Get that crap out of here. The combat is more free-flowing with plenty of variety. Joker is far less about the spectacle, but when a gun is fired or a vicious killing takes place, it's intense and rightfully a bit off-putting. Again, I can't really find a fault with either of these. I'm going tie. We have ourselves quite the scenario going into the fourth. Gotham needs a new class of criminal, and that's exactly what Joker provides. Heath Ledger takes the character in a far darker direction than we've previously seen on the big screen. He is unpredictable, intelligent, calculating, and mysterious. In fact, we know next to nothing about this guy. Whenever he explains the reasons for his scars, the story is wildly different every time. His licking, however, is a bad habit, and it's one he absolutely must get control of. Chapped lips are not a joke, friend. The Dark Knight has a lot of Nolan staples. Michael Caine as Alfred, Gary Oldman as Gordon, and Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox help class up the place. Cillian Murphy reprises his role as Scarecrow for a few minutes, while Katie Holmes is MIA as Rachel. Maggie Gyllenhaal takes over, only to be killed off anyway. What was the point of any of that? I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but it's a shame they couldn't have just finished out with the same actress. It's always a bit jarring when an actor is replaced in between films. It's just hard to get back into the groove, you know? It's like, I don't know you. Who are you? You're not the person I fell in love with. I didn't fall in love with Katie Holmes, but what am I talking about? Christian Bale once again dons the suit as both Batman and Bruce Wayne, although he's really outshined by Heath Ledger and Aaron Eckhart here. Fleck is not the Joker we've come to know over the years. Yes, there have been many interpretations of the Clown Prince, but Arthur doesn't follow any of the material. He's a mentally disturbed individual who accidentally starts a movement. He didn't mastermind it, nor does he look physically capable of going toe-to-toe with the future Batman, let alone any random 6-year-old he might piss off on the streets. I mean, I don't know the kid, but my money's gonna be on him every time. Arthur looks like he would fall over and just be absolutely destroyed by even the lightest breeze. That and the fact that he would be in his 60s when Bruce Wayne starts his new persona. This could very well have been an origin story for the Joker we saw shoot Mr. and Mrs. Wayne. Granted, the movie is full of interpretation and theorizing, and that's half of its charm. Robert De Niro's Murray Franklin was the TV show host I never knew I needed before. Frances Conroy plays Arthur's sick mother, who, as it turns out, is just as mentally disturbed as her son. I found the twist relationship with his neighbor Sophie, played by Zazie Beetz, a bit easy to see coming. Thankfully, it doesn't take up a lot of screen time, and it does show just how warped Arthur's mind really is. Joaquin Phoenix definitely transformed himself, both physically and mentally, for the role, but most of the time I was just feeling sorry for this guy's miserable condition. Heath Ledger's Joker was a threat and a blast to watch, aligning much closer to the version I wanted to see. He, along with the rest of the award-winning cast, are the reasons why I can confidently say Dark Knight gets the win here. Cards on the table, Dark Knight's an easy winner for me. In an attempt to be fair though, I did my best to stay impartial and recognize the value Joker has for fans. Now it's your turn to really let me have it. Leave a comment with your winner, like the video if you had a good time, and I'll see you next week on another Reel Rivalries. I think I have to give myself a bit of a round of applause for not saying the most overused line whenever talking about the Dark Knight. Why so serious? Thanks for watching the rivalry. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and comment with your episode winner. If you're a fan of movie debates, feel free to subscribe to ScreenRant for more Reel Rivalries and much, much more.